Batgirl number 3, written by Gail Simone, art by Arjun Siaf. We last left off with Mirror revealing to Batgirl that a train is going to blow up because one of the people on it he believes is supposed to die, and she's got to go stop it. And that's pretty much like the entire first half of this issue, is her just... She got a headpiece, like a headset from Mirror so that they could keep up conversation the whole time, because I guess her talking to herself doesn't make for good comics. But she's just sprinting and jumping over rooftops and stuff like that until finally she catches up to the subway. And by the way, the whole thing is just recap central. Like, it is going over the entire arc. It's like, okay, just as a reminder, here's who Mirror is. Here's what I'm doing right now. Here's all this stuff. Here's his... It's like, okay, all right, I get it. I read the first 2 issues. So... she catches up with the subway. She gets up to the driver's section. She's like, hey, can you stop the train? And he's like, I can't. The controls. He's like, okay, well, can you open the door? I can't. The controls. So she has to bust her way in. And she's like, all right, can't find the bomb. Not enough time. Got to think of something else. So her plan is to get the guy, who she does have the name of, Rupert Ansell. And she's like, is there a Rupert Ansell here? And Rupert's like, me? And Batgirl goes up to him and she's like, okay, don't get the wrong idea with this. I'm just going to save your life. And she just grabs onto him. And Batgirl's like, hey, Mirror, I'm holding on tight to Rupert Ansell. And from what you've told me, everyone on your list has to die in a way that, like, would have mirrored the way they should have died. So I was supposed to die by falling because of that robbery in issue 1. So if I die here in a train explosion, that means that your entire plan is bust. So you can't blow up the train, which I think is really ballsy to say, like, oh no, I know how your motive works better than you do. But Mirror agrees. He's like, yeah, no, you're right. I can't blow up that guy. Unfortunately for you, he wasn't the only person who was supposed to die that day. The Good Samaritan that picked up Rupert up off the train tracks is also riding the train. The other train that's passing by you right now. And then he blows up the other train. Okay, 2 hours pass. We get to talking to Detective McKenna. Her partner died last issue, or the issue before technically. And she's trying to get back on the force because, there was a literal terrorist attack. And Gordon's like, nah, sit tight. You recover. And McKenna's like, yeah, okay. Man, you might be a good cop, Gordon. Also kind of sexy if you're into that sort of thing. But you have a blind spot when it comes to bats. And then we see that McKenna's working on some Batgirl file. Barbara shows up in her dad's office and was like, hey, I'm missing you and totally not going through some stuff that I really need to talk about but don't have the ability to talk about. So I was wondering if maybe we could get some lunch. They actually have a panel here where she unloads on her dad and then was like, that's what I'd like to say. But what I actually say is this. And then it's just, I missed you. By the way, in this unloading, they say 2 things here that I didn't know. One, apparently she broke up with the therapist that we saw last issue. I didn't get that vibe at all, but it's only been about 2 hours and 30 minutes since that, so okay. The other thing is that apparently she wants a job in a forensic psychology field, but she's too overqualified but too underexperienced. I don't remember when that was said at all, but whatever. So anyway, her dad, because of everything going on, was like, nah, actually we can't have lunch today. Rain check. We'll get pierogies. And then he leaves. That night, she goes to the GCPD impound lot to get her bike back, which was taken in issue 2, I think. She finds it, but sitting there waiting is Dick Grayson Nightwing. And she's like, hey, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm checking up on you. I just wanted to make sure everything was all right. Because, you're walking again, which is a thing. And Batgirl, she's got this thing going on where she's talking to Nightwing, and she goes actually through a little trip through memory lane here of how she was invited to one of the Wayne galas, and she met up with Dick there, and they were just getting away from the party, and it was a little schoolgirl crush sort of thing. But not only was it crush, they became friends that night, and it's a cute little thing. But she's torn because she doesn't want. She feels that everyone's looking down on her as this fragile thing that's like unable to take care of itself. Whereas she wants to be just understood and just shown, that she is capable. Like, stop looking as if I'm going to go back into the wheelchair, sort of thing. So, despite the fact that Dick is, with all of his best intentions, making sure, like, hey, are you okay? Like, you're going pretty hard, and your doctors say that if you go too hard, you'll end up back in the wheelchair. So Barbara gets pissed. Like, they play this game of like acrobatic tag, and she manages to get away from him, but then he manages to catch right back up and sneak up on her. So she, pissed off, just throws a batarang at the back of his head, and they start fighting. And Nightwing's like, all right, this is how you want to do it. They fight for a minute just so you can justify the cover of the book. And then Nightwing's like, okay, stop. Look, I'm not here because I pity you. I'm here because me and Batman love you. We are not in that way. Not for Batman. This isn't that. Shut up. Anyway, so he's like, look, we're worried about you. And Barbara realizes, like, crap, I'm pushing people away. All right, look. And then she cuts off a piece of her hair with the batarang. I don't get this part. Gives the hair to Nightwing. And it's like, look, if we're going to be friends, I need you to let me do this. I have to do this alone, okay? I hope that you can understand. And Nightwing's like, okay, if that's how you want to do it, you're completely alone. And it ends with Nightwing somersaulting off the roof, leaving Barbara alone. This issue was hit and miss for me. I think it was a lot of over-explaining in the first half, especially for someone who's reading it. And I don't know who's going to jump in on an issue 3, but I can forgive that. My biggest problem comes in the thing of, like, I understand that Batgirl she just failed to save these people, and she's, going through the thing of, like, oh, people are saying I'm pushing too hard, but, like, I'm still failing, and I get that. I understand the mental degree of that, but, like, she just seems so insanely, like, I guess the best way to put it is when Nightwing taps her on the shoulder, having caught up to her caption box is, oh, grr, so very grr. All my life I've had a well-meaning guy, blah, blah, blah. Enough with well-meaning guys. They want to keep an eye on me, I'll send their eyes back blackened. I'm like, I get it, but it just seems so out of character. Especially because 2 pages later she flips back and realizes, oh, I screwed up. I don't know. It just seemed out of character just to have, like, that fight, which is completely unnecessary. But, I mean, art style, fine. Story progression, fine. I don't have any major problems with it. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7. My biggest issues with it is just, like, the 1.5 pages of this doesn't belong here. But, yeah, 7, Batgirl. It's fine.